Hey there, this is Jawan Newman, FlyGirl, FlyGuy School. I am in San Antonio right now for the weekend. I'm not working, and I had the opportunity of getting on a flight on non-rev this morning, which I should do a video on non-revving, but this video is not about non-revving. Um, if you want to hear more about non-revving and traveling, I guess I've been a flight attendant for 3 years now, and up until about 4 months ago, I was a commuter. I'm usually on a plane even when I'm not working, usually. But anyway, so I can do that video a whole nother time. But the purpose of this video is quite a few people on the Facebook group that I created, I guess maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, has been asking questions. Again, the Facebook group is FlyGirl, FlyGuy School. And quite a few people have asked questions about, number one, how to prepare for a face-to-face interview. And I would also say that this is helpful for those of you who have video interviews as well. I mean, the basic stuff. So I just wanted to point out some key tips with these videos. And I know that I've had a couple people say, made a couple of posts that they have applied and they're in the waiting game. So I would say that there are so many airlines out there right now, and if you know exactly what you want and you've made it very clear that, for example, I don't mean, oh, I just want to be a flight attendant, I just want to fly. That's not specific. When I started this job, or right before I started this job, my daughter was going away to college and she was moving to Paris. And so I wanted for us to have the travel benefits. And not just me being a flight attendant, but I wanted my daughter to have the benefits as well. So I did my research on the benefits, and I knew a couple of flight attendants, and I talked to quite a few flight attendants, and understanding what options are out there was the reason that I picked working for regional. But then also I picked this company because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to be a flight attendant, and I thought training is only 30 days. I don't really have that much investment, that's not a huge investment, and training, they pay for training, so I thought I won't lose anything because some companies don't pay for training. And then also the bases, I figured that everywhere they had a base and the possibility of me getting placed there, I could deal with working there and make that work for me. So so with that being said, I want you to understand how important it is to really clearly understand the companies that you're applying for, understanding their mission, their values, and then their bases and how they treat their employees. And of course, pay is important. Where do they go? Where do you want to go if you want to travel? And if you just want to see the world and be free and be a flight attendant, that's fine. But it's important for you to know what you're getting yourself into. A couple things that I wanted to point out is that when you are conducting your video interview, make sure you dress like a flight attendant from the waist up. If you can do your video interviewing standing up, I think that's even better because you'll stand out. Most people sit down, and I feel that we tend to be looser when we're standing up, and we tend to look a little more professional and poised. So my suggestion is, when you are doing your video interview, you can prop something up. If you don't have, I have my phone right now on a tripod, but if you don't have a tripod, you know, get a box, put your computer on top of a box and stand up in front of it. I think that's important. Make sure you smile when you're talking. Make sure that when you're doing this, you especially look into the camera if you're doing this on your phone or on your computer. So right now, I'm looking dead into the computer. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. I'm looking dead into the camera on my phone. Now I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at my reflection or the view of myself on the phone. So look at the difference, because now I'm sure that me looking at myself, it tends to probably feel like I'm not paying attention to you, that I'm not looking at you. But if I look at the camera, see the difference? Looking head on at the camera is most important. So I would say that if you tend to want to look at yourself as opposed to looking at the camera, one thing that you might want to do is put a post-it note or sticky, like right on the side of the camera, something that will keep your attention at that point and keep you from looking here. I know that you want to see yourself and you want to make sure that you look good, so make sure you take care of all of that before you actually hit record. So that way, when you are talking and answering the questions on the video interview, you are actually looking at the camera and not at yourself. So that sometimes takes practice. So I would say the other thing is record yourself. When you get these video interviews, you have, most of them I believe are like 72 hours to complete. So that's 3 days. So take the time to record yourself. Set your phone up or set your laptop up. Ask yourself a series of sample questions and then record yourself and see how you look and sound. Because then on the day of the actual video interview, you don't want to appear to be fumbling and bumbling around with trying to get the sound, trying to get the setup, trying to get the lighting. All of this around is very important. So, and I think this day and age, everyone knows how important videos are with Facebook Live and all of that good stuff. So, now with the questions, they're going to ask you a series of questions about situations, and I suggest you answer them in the STAR format, and that's typically what they look for. So STAR. STAR stands for S is situation, T is your task, A is the action that you took, and then R are the results. So if you answer your questions in that format, it becomes clear, your answers or your responses become clear and concise. Always have some type of personality. You don't want to seem dry. For example, you've been on a plane. I was on a plane this morning, and the way the flight attendant was reading the announcements drove me batty, literally. So she would read the announcements. Good afternoon. Thank you for flying with us today. And I thought, have a little personality. But literally, that's how she answered, how she read the announcements. You don't want to be dry. You don't want to be too over the top, but let your personality shine through. And if you have an over the top personality, then let that be it. But don't fake it, is what I'm trying to say. Don't overly fake it. But make sure that you have something that comes through as far as your personality. And if you have a little wit, be a little witty about your responses. When I went to my interview face-to-face, it was a group interview that I went on. In my mind, I was thinking of what I was going to say. And I believe, if I remember correctly, they asked the question of, why do you want to be a flight attendant, or what experiences? Maybe I think the question was, what are your past experience that you feel give you the experience to be a flight attendant? And in the back of my mind, I was thinking that I was going to say, because I was a former teacher, that I've learned how to control the classroom and control situations, which is definitely very important. And someone, like literally right before me, said the exact same thing. She was like, oh, I'm a teacher, I'm a school teacher, and I know how to control my students and handle responsibility. And I thought, crap, I can't go right behind her and say that. And so I stood up and I said, well, I was going to say what Elaine, actually, because she was hired too. Her name is Elaine, and we went to training together. So I said I was going to say what Elaine said. She stole my thunder. So I can't repeat what she said, but yes, I have those same type of skills because I taught high school English, and then I went on to some of the other things. And so they thought that that was kind of funny because I was like, oh, she completely stole my thunder. I didn't know she was going to say it. So I kind of added, a little humor to it just to lighten it up. But at the same time, then I brought in the star responses because then it keeps you concise and it keeps you consistent. So when you're answering your questions, just keep in mind that you need to have the situation, the task, the action, and the results. And be prepared in that order. The other thing to be prepared for when conducting your video interviews or even your face-to-face interview is to be clear. Speak clearly and concisely and project your voice. No one wants to listen to someone who just sits and looks at the camera and talks like this. I don't know what you can do or who you're going to appeal not being able to. Does that make sense? So make sure that you speak clearly, project your voice, and again, because of your surroundings, make sure that you're in a room or something where if you don't speak that loudly, or use your little microphone on your phones and try that out. I guess that's it. I'm looking at my notes. So I talked about dressing like a flight attendant. Again, whether you're on a video interview, I firmly believe that standing would probably do you better justice than sitting. Make sure you be yourself. Make sure you smile. Make sure you add your personality in your responses, and your responses should be in the STAR format: situation, task, action, results. And then make sure you know the company. Know their values, know their mission statements, know their employee culture. I did see an a video interview, and the first question on that was, what do you know about our company culture? And the person that had the interview was immediately stuck because they didn't know how to answer that question at all. So make sure you understand company culture, their mission statements, their values, and what's important to them and how they treat their employees. And then if you go to a live interview, one of the things that you must be aware, tell them that you will live or you are happy to be at any base and you don't have to worry about commuting. And the first year of the job can be quite challenging as you get accustomed to it. Commuting into work is a whole other challenge, and so I know that they prefer that you don't commute, and maybe some other companies are like that, but understand where their bases can be and where you're willing to go. And even if you're not, if you want to be a flight attendant, you're going to commute at least for a little bit. So, and not everywhere, it depends on where you apply. For example, I know GoJet is based in Pittsburgh. I don't know if they're hiring in Pittsburgh, but I know that's a base for them, and that's not really a base for any other company. And so if you live in Pittsburgh and you want to be a flight attendant and you don't want to commute, then you probably will want to work for GoJet. And then hopefully you may not get Pittsburgh when you first start, but then you might be able to transfer to Pittsburgh at a later date. So those are some of the things that you need to consider and think about when you're going through these interview processes. So I hope that was helpful. Please follow my blog on JawanNewman.com. Join the Facebook group, FlyGirl, FlyGuy School. Also on Instagram, FlyGirl School. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me, put them in the comments below, anywhere on social media, and I will answer and provide as much information as I can. So have a good one, and I will talk to you soon.